What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andy the Destroyer Ruiz. Former heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. has been accused of going all big-time Charlie on Manny Robles, the coach who took him to the Sports Summit. You guys know Andy Ruiz. He's a former unified heavyweight champion of the world, first of his kind, being from Mexican descent, upset Anthony Joshua last summer. Okay, took 3 out of 4 of the major belts and lost them right back in December. But he did do what he did, and he did it under the tutelage of Manny Robles. Okay, and of course we know now he is now with Eddie Reynoso, and he's being linked to fights such as Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. And the man who helped him realize his dream and secure the future of his family has opened up on a process of Ruiz eventually shocking the world. And this is what he had to say. He said, Andy just came back from a loss, his first loss. They came and they talked to me, and I took him under my wing, Robles said. He was going through a lot of ups and downs. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't making any money, and he was pretty much broke. He didn't have a place to stay. So I had to find him a place to live so I wouldn't lose him. I understood that what he was working with, and I understood this kid was talented. I didn't want to lose him to the streets or to boxing, so he would quit. So I had to find a way to keep him in LA, to put a roof over his head. I did just that. I found him a place to stay, food, everything a fighter would need to stay focused. Okay? We managed to keep him here, and little by little, his luck started to change for the better. Things started to fall into place. He got his opportunity to fight Joshua, and everyone else knows the rest of the story. Now, he's accused of going Big Bank Hank because he gained everything. You know, a lot of people have been accused of that, a lot of boxers. And my counterpunch on that is, I have to agree with Manny Robles. Even though Andy looks good right now, he did, when he got that fame, he changed. And he changed for the worse. See, it's one thing to make adjustments for yourself, okay, for self purposes. If you weren't getting the right kind of training, if you weren't getting the right kind of motivation, or someone gearing you, it would be different. Like Daniel Dubois, for example, Deontay Wilder for another. I think, I don't think that people gave him the right instruction throughout his career. That would be different. But Manny Robles was the guy that brought Andy Ruiz where he is, or where he was in the sport. And it got a little deeper, as you guys know, a little deeper the backstory. Sure, we knew he wasn't fighting, but we didn't know that he didn't have a roof over his head. You're talking about a guy that has a wife and 5 children. Okay, so that's a big deal. And that trainer went out on a limb to do that for you. And then he gets you to the point where you should be, only for you to fall from grace, for you to not show up at training, for you to start slacking, for you to start partying, and for you to start doing everything else besides what you're doing, and you lose it back, only to turn around and snub that guy. But here's the deal. What made it so shitty about Andy Ruiz, he made a public announcement and appeared to be confessing to his faults, and his faults only. Like it was only he confessed like it was my fault. I drank, I partied too much, I ate too much. It was my fault. I apologized to my trainer, and I apologized to my father, which is my manager, right? That's what he did in Saudi Arabia in front of everyone, only to turn around and snub his trainer and fire him through his dad, which was shady. I didn't appreciate that. And you guys know how I counterpunch Andy back in the day. But now he wants to go big time, because I think what Andy's doing, he's trying to outshine his last trainer by getting with a higher or more renowned trainer, by showing his last trainer that I can do better with another trainer because he's big time. Well, he's sadly mistaken if he thinks that's the way it's going to be, because it's up to him at the end of the day. And I don't think it's the idea of him failing. I think the problem for him falling was because he succeeded. Okay? Think about it. He already had lost his opportunity at the WBO belt fighting Joseph Parker to a split decision. And Bob threw him under the bus. He left the trainer that he was with and got with another trainer, got with Manny Robles, like we just explained. Right? He fought a fight, then he was able to fight the fight of a lifetime, the jackpot, right? The lottery, Anthony Joshua. And he made pay dirt. And I think someone like Andy Ruiz should realize and look in the mirror one day and realize, how did you get where you were at? Who was you with when you got to where you were at? That explains why you were at the place in life that you are at to achieve what you got, to achieve the highest of the high. And it's like he won and forgot about everything. That's the problem. That's the number one problem. And now he is trying to go all big time. But see, here's the thing. You're coming from somebody that trained under Freddie Roach, Abel Sanchez, Manny Robles, and now the Reynosos. So, if you go through the process of elimination, through the history of time and working with a person with their work history, the trainer, fighter work history, people are going to know. Abel Sanchez came out also. You know, not necessarily Freddie Roach, because Freddie Roach said he had fast hands, but, you know, Abel said he was lazy. And so that's a motivation problem, and you can't really, it's hard to motivate somebody. You know, he considered going to Teddy Atlas and all that back in the day, but at the end of the day, it won't matter who you're with, okay? And what makes it worse, if you're not trying to motivate yourself, he's gonna end up in the same situation. So if he beats one of those guys, you have to worry about Andy having motivation or consistent motivation, something that keeps him constantly sparked to continue. Because once he gets to the big time like he did, I don't know if he can really handle it. Okay, but he's running out of trainers. Because what I didn't know before I read that article is that Manny Robles found him somewhere to stay, put a roof over this guy's head. He treated him like a son more or less anybody else, because he knew what he could possibly wind up doing, and that's losing him to the streets. So for somebody to big time him and stuff like that, well, that remains to be seen. But I know Andy Ruiz and Manny Robles should have been a team that if he would have been actually trying to look up to Canelo, he would have realized that Canelo, when he took his first loss, he never left his trainer. His trainer was Eddie Reynoso since he was 15, and to this day, he's still the Reynoso, right? He's still in the Reynoso's corner. Andy Ruiz should have looked at that, and not to get with the Reynosos, understand what loyalty is, right? Leal, right? So he should have known what that meant. And maybe in the future he will learn one day. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Manny Robles' statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.